Good day, welcome to Creative Writing class. So for today, we're going to talk about or applying the various elements, literary devices, and exploring innovative techniques. And now let's talk about the audience for the personal writing. When it comes in personal writing, the audience are usually equal knowledge, or it can be your friends, or it can be your colleagues. Always remember when it comes in personal writing, this is more on informality and at the same time a casual style. And now, let's see the difference between technical writing and academic writing. On the left side, that is for the technical writing, and for the right side, that's for academic writing. And now, let's see the difference between technical writing and academic writing for the audience. When it comes in technical writing, the audiences are usually the boss, your supervisor, your team, it can be your committee, the politicians, the bank officers, or the general public, and many others. When it comes in the audiences for the academic writing, this is more on the generic readers, especially from the stories. It can be the teachers, perhaps fellow students. For the audiences, the first document should be the many readers or the many needs. For example, the food chain, the boss or the supervisors, the team, the engineers, workers, politicians, bank officers, and general public. Usually, the audiences or the first document coming from the teacher that is for the academic writing. Now, the purposes when it comes in technical writing and academic writing. So, when it comes in technical writing, the purpose is more on situation oriented. You will see a need, you have to address a need. There is internal motivation and at the same time a professional motivation. And also, this is outcome oriented to get something accomplished. But when it comes in academic writing, the purpose of academic writing is this is more on assignment oriented. It it's more on passive versus active, where you are actually given a topic or test. You're also given an assignment, and at the same time that is more on external motivation, scholastic motivation, and grade oriented. For evaluation criteria, the technical writing is more on the success. The success of the technical writing is more on the satisfaction of the readers, of all readers. Something was done, and at the same time, this is more on inform, and you have to persuade the people. When it comes in academic writing, this is more on correct answer, right information, unity, coherence, support, detail, and more on grammar. For the applications, especially for technical writing, you will see this is more on the real world applications. Why this is more on real world applications? This is you're just going to start or using the case studies, illustrative scenarios. You're just also going to use operation management for a job, for a raise or promotion, for a bid, and this is more on practical matters. Now, for academic writing, this is more on college application. That's why they call it academic writing. You have to use essays, essay exams for academics, for grade, for degree to show what you know. Or let's say the academic writing, this is more on demonstrative. The disciplines between the technical writing is this is more on interdisciplinary. And at the same time, you're just about to use the computer sciences, the psychology, and even the mixture of history, math, science, and technology. Now, for the academic writing, this is more on the single discipline. Why single discipline? This is more on discipline specific. When you say discipline specific, this is more on literary data for an English paper. It can be an historical information on a history paper. And at the same time, this is more on psychological ideas on a psychology test and rarely a mixture. Usually for the technical writing, so this is more on the design, the format. Let's see. So the technical writing, you're just about to use the paragraph. This is more on 6 to 10 lines. Vary lengths for visual, white space. You have these columns, headings, list, graphics, varying fonts, use of color, relative spacing, margins, and justifications. So those are the formats for the technical writing. When it comes in academic writing, this is more on when it comes in paragraph, there should be minimum to 3 to 5 sentences. No maximum length, and no white spaces, no columns, no headings, no list, no graphics, no varying fonts, no use of color. And at the same time, we're always using double spacing, equal margins, and left justification. For the components, we can see that technical writing is more on they are using oral, visual, and written. It's because they're going to produce documents, they're just going to present documents, and they're just going to write to be read, write to be seen, and write to be heard. That's why the components for the technical writing is more on oral, visual, and written. When it comes in academic writing, the main purpose or the component is just only for the written. Why it's for written? It's because it's more on infrequent oral and visual components. And at the same time, this is more on predominant written component. You have to write to be read by your teachers or your classmates, and at the same time, write to be graded and not to be seen or heard. For graphics, the technical writing more on they are using tables, charts, graphs, diagrams, photographs, maps, blueprints. It's because they're just going to present their job. When it comes in academic writing, this is more on uncommon. You're just going to use the photographs. Next, for formats, always remember the formats in technical writing. This is just for memos, especially for the job. They're just going to use emails, letters, cover letters, resumes, proposals, manuals, portfolio, abstract, and even for the reportings. It's because they're just going to report for the formal or either informal. For academic writing, this is more on essay questions. Why essay question? It's because that's essay based on the rhetorical strategies. It can be description, narration, illustration, or the process analysis. Or it can be division classification, comparison and contrast, more on definition. We're just going to use the cause and effect, the pro-con argument. And that is academic writing. Now, for grammar. The grammar when it comes in technical writing is this more on grammarless. Why grammarless? It's because they're just going to use the visual or more on visual oriented. That's why a while ago we told you that the technical writing more on using the graphs or tables. And at the same time, grammar is more or less important with the technical writing. The fragments of the sentence can be permissible, can be used also at the same time, and at the same time, this is more on active voice. They're also using descriptive writing. It's because they're more on description, giving informations and ideas. And this is also concise sentences, the spelling, and proofread. For academic writing, it's more on grammarful. We have to be careful with our grammar when it comes in academic writing. Why? This is more on written oriented. Grammar is the key, and the sentence should not be fragmented. We're almost the same thing. We're using active voice, and at the same time, we have descriptive writing, concise sentences, spelling, and proofread. Spelling and proofread is also important both for technical writing and on academic writing. So in conclusions, technical communications is practicality in the employment world. Always remember employment world. And at the same time for the real world applications. In academic writing, this is more on you have to demonstrate your knowledge, and that's limited to academic world. So, technical communication by an informed writer, conveying necessary information in both visually and verbally to a lesser informed reader. The writer is also equals to teacher. For academic writing, by a student learner, for an expert reader. Technical communication is read by many people to satisfy the needs of many people at the same time. While academic writing, it's you have to be read by one or one student at a time to appease the criteria of a one student. Now, for technical communication, this is more on information retrieval. So, organization and format should be designed and to help readers quickly and easily locate information. For academic writing, this is more on retrieval, information retrieval. This is more on little concern beyond a logical organization. Now, for technical communication, number one is the public speaking component. For public speaking component, they're just going to use formal conferences speeches and informal meeting speeches. They're using both formal and informal style of speech. For academic writing, this is more on limited to public speaking opportunities. It's because there are conferences or rare class projects and public speaking courses. Now, for the definition of technical writing, always remember it encompasses a wide range. It's because technical communication, it's a wide range of communication, both writing and speaking. Writing and speaking responsibilities and at the same time required to communicate your ideas, especially for a job purposes. Now, let's see the next one. Here, let's see the similarities between the academic writing and the technical writing. When it comes in grammar, they are both active voice. They're also giving information that is descriptive writing. It should be concise sentences. And at the same time, the most important part is the spelling and proofreading. In writing as a process, always remember the three part that is for planning, drafting, and revising. Now, for educational philosophies, let's see the difference between technical writing and academic writing. The writing process of technical writing is more on experimental. Why it's experimental? It's because there is a process, there is a reader focus in how to analyze and compose process. Technical writing is more on prescriptive. Why prescriptive? It's because that's the product. We're going to introduce product, the use of product, and at the same time, the writer is more on focus and the models or forms of writing. Unlike with academic writing, the educational philosophies is more on prescriptive, teach from models, and at the same time, there is a rhetorical strategies and writer focus. Now, the academic writing purpose or objective is to demonstrate knowledge, to show what you know. For the audience, academic writing is more on superior knowledge, and teachers perhaps peer editors. Your audience are usually your teachers or even the students or your classmates. For evaluation of academic writing, is this more on correct information, unity, coherence, depth, clarity, and grammar. Always remember for academic writing that is more on depth, clarity, grammar, unity, coherence, and correct information. They are just going to use graphics, but that's actually limited and at the same time to explain or persuade. Academic writing is more on persuading and at the same time explaining and at the same time demonstrating, giving information, demonstrative, express your feelings at the same time. For formats, always remember this is more on description, as I have said a while ago, narration, illustration, the process or the analysis, and at the same time, this is more on classification. Academic writing at the same time, they are also using comparison and contrast, definition, cause and effect, pro-con, and argument persuasion. For technical writing, we can see that the purpose of technical writing is more on to entertain and to inform the people. Always remember the audience of technical writing is more on the equal knowledge, friends or colleagues, and at the same time the evaluation is more on emotional response. And now let's talk about the writing process. In writing process, there are 5 steps. So we have to remember the 5 steps in writing process. The first one is we have the pre-writing, the second one is drafting, the third one is the revision, and the fourth one is the editing, and the fifth one is publishing. Once again, pre-writing, drafting, revision, editing, and publishing. When it comes in pre-writing is you have to choose a topic, you have to choose a format, gather material, and plan basic structure. So that's the first step. That is pre-writing. Choose a topic, choose a format, gather material, plan basic structure. For step number 2, that is drafting. So get your ideas on your paper, use sentences and paragraphs, and at the same time you have to follow the basic structure of the genre you have chosen. Alright, so don't worry about getting it perfect. Why? Because you can fix it later. After you finish your first draft, you should get someone else's perception of your work. Why? Find a couple of people to read your work, or better yet, read it aloud to them. Ask the following questions and tell them what you would appreciate their honesty. Alright, it's because you're just going to have a revision. When we say revision is what do you like about my piece, you just have to ask them what questions do you have, what is unclear, and what would you do to improve it. Now for revision is more on adding details and examples and illustrations to strengthen and clarify. Rewrite awkward or unclear sentences or paragraphs, and cut any words or sentences or paragraphs that are off topic and distracting or unnecessary. That is part of revision. Now for the editing, that's the time for you to correct your spelling, the grammar, and at the same time the punctuation and style. You have to correct everything, and that is part of editing. Now for number 5, the publishing is more on turn it in, post it in a blog, submit to application, or many other. You have to submit to your teacher. Alright, so that is the process of writing. Now, for feelings and emotions, number 1, you have to express your feelings. When it comes in expressing your feelings, it's also one of the most important part, especially in creative writing. Why? Feeling is an emotional reaction or the experience of affective and emotional states. And at the same time, emotion is a mental state that arises spontaneously rather than through conscious effort. Now, always remember that the most important element in our storytelling is the emotions. Why? It's because the emotions we feel connect us with the stories. Those feelings may prompt us to act or behave differently, more on nobly, more on resourcefully, more on efficiently because of the way our emotions respond to the actions of someone else. Emotions command attentions and creates a relevancy of shared feelings between a character and the reader. Always remember, shared feelings between character and the reader. If you name some of the feelings or emotions, you will see that they can be negative and positive sometimes in the stories, both negative and positive. For example, you can use jealousy, envy, pride, sadness, anger, fear, happiness, and confidence. In what situations people express some of the feelings that you mentioned before? For example, you're just going to use anger if someone broke something of yours, if you feel envy if someone wishes to have your new sneakers like that, and for happiness is someone is going to marry, for fear is someone saw a ghost. For pride, someone graduated from high school, right? That's a good example. And if you feel jealousy, is someone you love shows a lot of interest in others. Or it can be confidence when someone has no doubt to win the championship. Or it can be sadness when someone has gone far away. For the primary emotions, usually from the stories, it can be a primary human emotions types are the one triggered in response to an event. For example, love, joy, anger, sadness, surprise, fear. So those are the primary emotions, especially from the stories. For the secondary emotions, if we experience fear, we secondary emotions would be feel threatened or feel anger, depending on the situations we are experiencing. It can be passions, more on optimism, irritations, disgust, shame, and nervousness. Now you're going to see some flashcard with faces that express some feelings or emotions. For example, in the stories, usually the story is more on happiness. So when you say happiness, this is emotion experience when you feel satisfaction or pleasure. Next one, jealousy. Jealousy is a feeling of anger or unhappiness because someone has something or something that you want. It can be sadness, showing feeling or causing unhappiness or regret. It can be pride, is the feeling of satisfaction you have because you or people you are connected with have done something well. And at the same time, it can be confidence, the quality of being certain of your abilities or having trust in people or plans or the future. It can be envy, the feeling that you wish you had something that someone else has. It can be fear, an unpleasant emotion that you have when you are frightened or worried by something dangerous, painful, or bad that is happening or might happen. It can be anger, a strong feeling which makes you want to hurt someone or be unpleasant because of something unfair or hurtful that has happened. Now you're going to see some pictures with situations expressing some feelings or emotion. Let's see. For example, you feel anger, your computer crashed. You feel sadness, you broke up with your boyfriend or girlfriend. It can be pride, you graduated from the university. It can be confidence, she'll be perfect for the job. It can be fear, you saw a ghost. Or it can be jealousy. For example, I was a baby, not you. And it can be happiness when it comes with your birthday. All right, so that's our topic for today. Once again, thank you for listening.